I have visited 5 cities in Argentina, and in today's video I'm going to rank these 5 cities from 5th being the worst to 1st being the best. Now, the 5 cities that I have visited in Argentina are Buenos Aires, the capital city, Puerto Iguazu, the home of Iguazu Falls, Cordoba, the second largest city in Argentina, Salta, a city in the north of Argentina, and finally Mendoza, the wine capital of Argentina. Now, a couple of things that I do think are worth mentioning before I go into my rankings of these 5 cities. If you do look at a map of Argentina, you will see it's quite a big country. So getting between cities is quite long. So I do recommend you take flights if your budget allows you to take flights. It is a bit more expensive than the overnight buses, but actually, to be honest with you, it's not too much more expensive. So you can go into the description of this video and also the comment section too. You will see a link to Skyscanner. That's where you can book your flights. I always use Skyscanner to book my flights. Skyscanner is a fantastic flight comparison website. But if you do want to save a bit of money on flights in Argentina, you should definitely check out my latest video here. Is this video here. If you can't find the video, it is in all of my Argentina video playlists. Just go to my channel homepage, select either the Buenos Aires playlist or Cordoba, Salta, Mendoza, Puerto Iguazu. It will be found in all of my Argentina playlist videos. Go to my channel, check out this video. There is a big money saving tip that you can use when you go to Argentina, which is slightly different from other countries, and it's taking advantage of the different exchange rates that Argentina has. So do check out that video. You will save money on flights if you use the tip in that video. Right, so now I'm going to get into the rankings of the 5 cities in Argentina that I've been to. So starting with 5th place, which is going to be last, my least favorite city in Argentina, and that is Puerto Iguazu. Now, when I say Puerto Iguazu, I'm not talking about the Iguazu Falls. I absolutely recommend that you do go to the Iguazu Falls because they are spectacular on both the Argentinian side and the Brazilian side. So I'm disregarding the falls because I think you should visit the falls, and the falls are shared by 2 countries anyway. I'm just talking about the town itself. The town itself is very small. During the daytime, it's very empty and very eerie because obviously everyone's at the falls. However, at night, it does get quite nice and busy because all the tourists come back from the falls. So there are quite a few bars and restaurants about, but it is expensive for Argentinian standards. Lots of the drinks and food there is quite expensive, and also accommodation too, a little bit on the pricey side for Argentina. And also, unlike the Brazilian side of the falls, there is no Uber, so you can't use Uber there. You're going to have to use either taxis or buses. Look, if you're going to go to the Argentinian side of the falls, you're obviously going to have to spend a night there in Puerto Iguazu. I would recommend just one night. You don't need more than that. Just one night there, see the falls, and then just move on. So now moving on to 4th place. In 4th place is Mendoza, 4th city in my list, and actually the 4th biggest city in Argentina. Now, Mendoza is very famous for its wine. It is known as the capital of wine in Latin America. You can do day trips to vineyards, you can do wine tasting tours. Mendoza does have some really nice nature nearby. You've got the Andes Mountains nearby Mendoza. You've got lots of lakes. You can also do activities like river rafting. If you go to the link in the description, I do have a link to Get Your Guide. And if you do go to Get Your Guide, you can actually book a river rafting activity day out, which I personally didn't do, but it does look quite fun. So there are activities you can get up to in Mendoza and the surrounding areas. But for me, the city itself of Mendoza is a little bit lacking. You have this main street called Aristides Villanueva, which is kind of like the heart of Mendoza. It's where all the bars and the restaurants and the nightlife is. I recommend you stay somewhere around that Aristides Villanueva street because that is the vibrant part of town. The rest of the city is very quiet, very dead. I must say though that the city does have lots of green spaces, so you can take some nice walks and some nice hikes in nice weather. But the city itself, it isn't that impressive, to be honest. I think accommodation as well is quite expensive again for Argentinian standards. The nightlife and atmosphere isn't that great. So for me, I think 4th place for Mendoza is fair. But if you do love your wine, definitely check it out because it is the wine capital of South America. But otherwise, I honestly think you may be able to skip out Mendoza if you're on a tight time frame. But if you do have the time, and especially if you are going over to Santiago, Chile, it is worth checking out Mendoza. And if you do find yourself in Mendoza, I highly recommend that you go to this cafe called Oligario, which is in the center of the city. Really affordable food. They do really good Milanesas there. This place of Milanesa here was about £4 so about $4.50 or $5. So really good food, really affordable. I highly recommend you go here for lunch. So now moving on to third place in my list of Argentinian cities. Third place is going to be Cordoba, Argentina's second biggest city. Now, Cordoba is the student city of Argentina. Cordoba has the oldest university in Argentina, and young people from all over the country and also all over South America want to come to Cordoba to study. So that means it is a great city for young people because you do have lots of bars, lots of nightlife at the weekend. But I do emphasize that that nightlife is kind of restricted just to the weekend. I was out on a Monday night in the city and it was absolutely dead. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights in the city are quite dead, nothing going on. But at the weekend, that's when everyone goes out, that's when all the students go out, and that's when you've got lots of bars and clubs open that you can go to. Now, I recommend that you stay in an area called Nueva Cordoba because that is the vibrant area of the city. That's where all the bars, restaurants and clubs are. It's relatively safe there. You don't have to worry too much about your safety, but just be aware at night because at night, some streets can feel a bit sketchy. Now, I think one of the big disadvantages with Cordoba is there isn't really much to do from a tourist perspective in the city. You do have a really nice colonial cathedral. It does remind me a lot of cathedrals that you see in Spain. You will find some museums and some colonial architecture in the centro part of the town, but that centro part of the town is extremely dead, and some of the streets there really did sketch me out and did feel a little unsafe. So definitely make sure that you are staying in that Nueva Cordoba triangle because that's the best place to stay. You can also take a day trip to a town called Villa Carlos Paz. It is very popular with Argentinian tourists and all the students go there on a Sunday. It's kind of like the thing to do on a Sunday to go to Villa Carlos Paz. So I would say if you are going to go to Cordoba, do make sure you go over a weekend because that's when the city will be most vibrant. If you are a young person, you'll probably like it. Lots of bars and clubs about. You will meet people there. People are very friendly, especially the young people. They do like meeting foreigners. And also a couple of tips, make sure you try Fernet and Cola when you are in Cordoba. It is the traditional drink to have on a night out in Cordoba. It is quite bitter, it's got quite a bitter aftertaste, but the initial sweetness of the cola kind of does work well with it. And also make sure you go to a place called Bruncheria and try their Milanesa sandwich. Wow, this Milanesa here was probably the best one that I had on the trip. Definitely recommend it. A little bit pricey to be fair, a little bit pricey, but really, really good. So now then, the second best city in Argentina that I've been to, in my opinion, is Salta in the north of Argentina. You will see some really impressive colonial architecture in Salta, a couple of really beautiful, colourful churches. You can go inside them, they're really nice to look at. Now, the thing about Salta is that Salta has a much more stronger indigenous culture. You'll see people from Salta are much more indigenous than the rest of Argentina. So compared to some of the other cities in Argentina, Salta really does feel unique. Salta does have a couple of history museums. You do have a couple of art galleries as well. And I definitely recommend that you go up to the Cerro San Bernardo, the San Bernardo mountain. You can take the funicular up to the mountain. Just go onto Google Maps, type in Teleférico San Bernardo. That's where you can get the funicular up to the top of the mountain. You get some nice views all across the city. It is a little pricey to take the funicular. It's currently 10,000 pesos. You can either pay in cash or card. Either option is fine. But other than a relatively expensive funicular ride, Salta is actually really affordable. Salta was the cheapest city that I went to in Argentina. The accommodation, the food, the drinks are all much cheaper than other places like Buenos Aires and Cordoba. And also, Salta is known to be the home of the best food in Argentina. The empanadas there were certainly the best that I tried in Argentina. The food is a little bit more spicier there. They do use more spices in their cooking, whereas in most of Argentina, the food there is not very spicy at all. But in the north, they do use some more spices, more stews, much more indigenous style food. So I do think the food up there is a little tastier than the rest of Argentina. And also the great thing about Salta is that you can take really good day trips nearby Salta. I took a day trip to Cafajate, so I booked that through Get Your Guide. Again, I'm going to put the link to that tour in the description to this video, and it's exactly the same tour that I took. You'll get picked up around 7 AM by the tour guide in the minibus. You get taken all around the mountain region. You get some spectacular views all across these red mountains. You do a bit of wine tasting as well. The wine there is really, really good. And then you get taken to the town of Cafajate, a lovely colonial town. You can get some lunch there, and then you get in your minibus on the way back to Salta. Now, in terms of where to stay in Salta, somewhere in the Centro area, the historic centre of Salta is fine. Salta felt pretty safe to me. As long as you stay somewhere in Centro, I think you should be fine in terms of safety. But a couple of disadvantages to mention. Firstly, the nightlife isn't amazing. There are some bars and some clubs, but definitely Cordoba and Buenos Aires have better nightlife than Salta, so it's not really a party destination if you are a young person. And also, there are some ugly buildings and ugly architecture, especially outside of the Centro area. You may feel a little bit intimidated because a lot of the architecture does look a bit run down outside of the historic centre. But as I said before, if you stick to the historic centre, I don't think you'll encounter any danger. So now I think it's quite obvious what my #1 pick would be for the best city in Argentina. It has got to be Buenos Aires, the capital city. If you can only go to one city in Argentina, it would have to be Buenos Aires. There is so much to do there. You can go and see the obelisk. You can go to the San Telmo market and get some food on Sundays at the Sunday market. You've also got all the clothes and all the market stalls all along San Telmo as well on a Sunday. You can check out the Casa Rosado. You can also go to the Recoleta Cemetery, where you've got lots of famous Argentinian people, personalities, politicians buried. Also, make sure you check out the El Ateneo Library. I've never seen a library quite this impressive. You can, of course, get an Uber down to Boca and check out La Boca. I really do emphasize get an Uber there. Do not bother walking there. It is quite rough and dangerous. I would not risk my safety to walk down there. Get the Uber down there. And also make sure you go to the famous Pizza Guerin. It's got the best pizza in Argentina. Now, Argentinian pizza is a bit different to Italian pizza because it's much more thicker. The pizzas there are more saltier. They definitely feel more unhealthy than Italian pizzas, but definitely worth it, definitely worth trying. Oh, and I nearly forgot, Japanese gardens. Really, really peaceful there. If you are looking for a nice peaceful walk in the city, go to the Japanese gardens. It's very zen and very chilled there. And of course, the nightlife in Buenos Aires is really good too, especially in the Palermo neighborhood. You've got loads of bars, cocktail bars, restaurants, nightclubs. I do think Palermo is a really good place to stay. It's relatively safe. If you stay somewhere in this rectangle here, you should be okay. Just be vigilant of your belongings and your safety and your whereabouts. Belgrano is also another relatively safe neighborhood that lots of people stay in too. So for me, Buenos Aires is the best place in Argentina, but there are a couple of disadvantages. The weather there isn't great, even in the summer months. Expect lots of humid weather, grey clouds, thunderstorms because of its proximity to the sea. Also, people from Buenos Aires are relatively friendly. I would say other parts of Argentina are friendlier than Buenos Aires, but they're decent, they're friendly. And obviously, because it's the capital and the most visited place in Argentina, expect accommodation prices to be quite higher than the other parts of the country. Food and drinks were actually not too bad, were quite average, but the accommodation prices are more expensive, especially in the nicer areas. I do think that Buenos Aires is certainly in my top 10 favorite places that I've ever been to, maybe even my top 5 favorite cities that I've been to. It's really good, really cool place to check out. Definitely recommend you visit. Now, again, if you do want some more information on any of these 5 cities, go to my channel, go to my playlist section. As I said before earlier in the video, I do have 5 playlists: a Buenos Aires playlist, a Cordoba playlist, Mendoza, Salta and Puerto Iguazu. Check out those playlists, check out the videos there. I do have lots of key tips and tricks that you need to be aware of for all 5 of these places, so do watch some of those videos to get some more information. Now, if you have been to Argentina before and you know some of these cities, let me know in the comment section if you agree or whether you disagree with my list. Do you think my list is perfect? Do you think my list is completely wrong? What would be your rankings? What would be your list of your favorite Argentinian cities from worst to best? And also, if you're planning to come to Argentina sometime soon, do let me know in the comment section as well. It will be interesting to see how many tourists and travelers are planning a trip to Argentina. So I do hope that today's video has been been useful and helpful. If it has, remember to click the like button. It really does help out the video and it gives other travelers a chance to see this video, and also subscribe for more travel content. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.